Hey guys, Doc. So today I'm going to do a little bit different pressure washing video. Gosh, weeks ago I said I was going to do a new pressure washing video. So I'm going to do a new pressure washing video, even though I've done a ton of them over the years. Here's how I'm going to do it a little bit differently, so hold on. In some of my older videos, I talk way the hell too much. So I'm going to get right to the point on some of this. And what I'm going to do, number one, in the description below, there's going to be a link to one page, and I'm going to put everything I'm talking about on one page, because I'm going to tell you what pressure washers I think are the best ones to buy, best values. I'm going to talk about the accessories that'll actually change your life, that actually make a huge difference when you're pressure washing. So I'll put a link down below. Next, there's a little white line down below, and I'm going to break this up into chapters. So if you don't need to hear about something, if you just want to skip forward, you can hover over those little broken lines and it'll tell you what the chapter is. Okay, so I've been pressure washing for over 2 decades now. And we own multiple units and we've done multiple things. So we've pressure washed, we've done videos on pressure washing pools multiple times. We've done pressure washing videos on doing fences multiple times. I have a painted pool deck down at the beach house. We've done that. I've actually pressure washed with a surface cleaner our dock, our old dock that was out here, and that was surprising. The results were surprising. And then of course driveway videos. We've done a ton of driveway videos. So I have this huge collection of pressure washing videos, and I wanted to sort of compress it, the basic information that's important to you, because it really applies all over. Subject number one, let me tell you what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about the units, what pressure washing, we're going to talk about PSI, we're going to talk about gallons per minute, we're going to talk about the accessories that you need, we're going to talk tip versus a surface cleaner, which is always controversial, and then we're going to talk about should you use bleach on a driveway. Those are the main subjects that people want to know. So let's go to subject number one, which is going to be the units. Look, we have bought these Simpson units, and I'm going to link to both of them. There are 2 ones that we recommend. I've got one that is, gosh, I want to say it's what, 5 or 6 years old, and I do not take care of pressure washers. After I use them, I shoot a little bit of pump saver in them, and I throw them in the shed. And I can pull that thing out, and I'm telling you, I can pull it out in 2 seconds and pull 2 pulls, and that thing starts up every single time. Matter of fact, Ryan and I said, let's pull this old one out that we haven't run in a year and a half. Put gas in it, pulled it, started right up. So they're good units. Simpson is owned by a larger company, and they actually own a couple different divisions. They actually own their own pump division. So the pumps that actually go onto the pressure washers, they actually own that company as well. They're actually not 100% manufactured, but they're somewhat manufactured and assembled here, right here they have a 250,000 square manufacturing plant here in the United States. Now, the other thing about Simpson is if you go buy like a DeWalt or like a Northern Tool type, an off-brand custom private label, there's a good chance, I guarantee you, it's a Simpson. Simpson makes it for them. They do a huge amount of private label pressure washing businesses. So it's the same unit I'm talking about, they just put a different label on it. I'm telling you, that happens all the time. They even say that on their website. So the 2 units, one is a small engine and one is a larger engine. And they both, honestly, there's a little bit of a difference on like 100 PSI difference and gallons per minute difference, but it's almost impossible to tell. These 2 units, between the 2 of them, I think the average homeowner can just go with the small engine, the small Honda or small Briggs, the small little engine. It's more compact, it's a little bit smaller. I can actually pick that up and put it in my truck. So it's a little bit lighter, a little bit smaller, and it runs fantastic. The bigger one, if you're gonna go in, if you do a lot of pressure washing, or maybe you own a grass cutting business and you're thinking about offering as more of a full-time, then obviously the larger the engine, especially in your Hondas, you're gonna get more use out of them. But I'm telling you, the average homeowner that's gonna pull it out 2 or 3 times a year, those small ones are fine. I think there's about $100 price difference between the 2 of them. I'll put it down below. Next, let's talk about, I want to cover this is a real important subject, and it's the PSI and GPM. For the average homeowner, what I want you to think about is, I want you to buy a pressure washer that you never feel like you need more. In other words, it feels like it's almost a little bit overpowered for your purpose. You don't want to buy something and say, man, I wish I had a little bit more power. I'm telling you, with both of these machines, they are going to do anything you want. You're going to be like, holy crap, these things are powerful. I have tried a bunch of different little electric pressure washers, and I actually gave one to Ryan. I said, dude, I don't want this thing. You cannot get that same power that you can with the gas unit. It just doesn't work, and they're not all that much more quiet either. They make a lot of racket. That buzzing electric sound is kind of annoying, honestly. Accessories. Let's talk about the accessories. Okay, there's a little green piece, a little spring that I like to always get. I attach it, and the reason being is on your pressure washers, it's annoying because the hose attachment is like hidden somewhere and you really can't get to it. This will extend that out a little bit and also prevent, if your hose pulls a little bit, it also prevents that kinking. So that little green hose piece that I'll show is really important. What else? Extension wand. You're going to be using, more than likely, you're going to be doing a sidewalk, you're going to be doing a patio, you're going to be doing a driveway. So you're going to want one of the extension wands. I'll link to them down below. You want a wand that'll let you stand up straight. You don't want to be bent over doing pressure washing, so you want to make sure you get a long wand and so you can stand up straight, and it's real easy. The other thing you're going to want is a tennis ball. You put a tennis ball, if you have a long pressure washing project, you can put a tennis ball inside the handle and it keeps you from having to squeeze all the time. So have a tennis ball handy. If you don't have one, go buy one. The next thing is a hose splitter. If you want to, it's real easy. Now, once you start pressure washing with the surface cleaner, you're going to, after you do a section, you're going to want to move that dirt off. Now, you can change out and put a tip on and blow it off with a tip, or the way Ryan likes to do it, my son, and the way I like to do it is actually use a hose splitter and shut off your machine. You don't want your machine running too much while it's not on, and then take the hose with a nozzle and actually go ahead and blow it off with a hose, and that just really cleans it off well. All right, so let's move on to one of the controversial subjects, which is tip versus surface cleaner. And I've always said, if you want to start a bar fight, start talking about a tip versus a surface cleaner. I have a funny story to prove my point on this in a second here. A tip, when you have a tip, you're shooting in one direction, okay? That tip is shooting in one direction, wherever you point that. And it's really powerful. Matter of fact, if you run it across your bare foot, you may cut open your skin. It's really concentrated. And there are several different colors, and the color tips are going to be the fan angle. So the more concentrated, you can get it down to a fine point. Man, you can basically cut through wood if you wanted to. And then they go out to surfing different colors. We like to use the green tip. We pop the green tip in and we blow, we clean off what we've done, and then we put back the surface cleaner. We just switch out the tips most of the time. But it is a one-directional type clean. And here's the funny story. Concrete, okay, concrete is full of these little, this is what, if you magnify it, this is what concrete looks like, okay? So when you have that tip and you're cleaning with that tip back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you're really only cleaning one side, and you still have debris down in the middle and on this side. With a surface cleaner, it cleans like this. So every single hose nozzle has a fan spray, and it's in different directions and it's spinning around, but it doesn't feel as powerful when you look at it. So there's a picture, I have Ryan lift it up and I put my hand under it and it feels nice and soft. But I'm telling you, it is 5 times more effective at cleaning a surface that has holes in it, we'll call it, okay? So any kind of surface that has aggregated type surface, it's much more effective than that. 2 stories. Number 1, down at the beach house, I went down there and there was some black stuff on the painted cement surface down there. I just took the tip and I couldn't get it off. I said, wait a minute. I grabbed my surface cleaner, I put it on, came right off. The next thing is, when we were getting ready to sell our other house, the diving board, I don't know why, the diving board had some kind of brown bronze color on it. I'm assuming it was some kind of dead algae or something that was on there. So I took the surface cleaner and I actually put it on the diving board and I showed Ryan. I said, watch, I'm going to show you how effective this is. He didn't believe me that the tip was a better cleaner. So when I wasn't looking, he went back and put the tip on and tried. He said, didn't do anything. So I shut off the camera and you said, what?
Yesterday after the diving board, I went back by myself without him knowing and tried it with just a wand and nothing else came off. It was the same level of clean.
What a butthole.
I had to know for myself.
He had to know for himself because I told him. It didn't clean it any more than the surface cleaner did. I said, I told you, dude, it's a much more effective, especially when you have that porous type surface. A surface cleaner, because of the multi-angles and multi-exposures that are going on, is a much more effective. The other thing is, a surface cleaner, you have to learn how to use a surface cleaner. When you use a surface cleaner, you want to go back and forth at a constant speed in one direction. So you go back and forth. Then what you do is you just go in the other direction, back and forth, and you're done. It is at least twice as fast as using a tip. Some people say, well, it leaves swirl marks. Well, that's because what's happening if you're leaving swirl marks is you're not doing what I'm telling you to do, which is don't concentrate it too long and then do an overlap, a big overlap, because now you're cleaning once, cleaning again. It's a strange little process that if you do a bunch of overlaps and if you slow down, you're going to clean almost too much. I know that sounds weird, but that's where you can get some of those swirl marks, we'll call it. All you need to do is just go back and forth once, and go back and forth the other way, and you're going to be all good. Okay, so we covered the equipment, we covered accessories, we covered the power, how much power you're going to need. I covered wand versus tip. Now let's cover bleach. Let's talk about the bleach. This is always a bar fight argument, so I'm going to tell you right up front. If you want to use bleach, go right ahead. There are about, if you Google it, if you go to YouTube and put in pressure washing with bleach, there's going to be about 100 videos. They're like 20 minutes long about how to mix bleach. Mix this, and this is the solution. I'm like, dude, it's not that complicated. It really isn't. So what you want to do, we have done this test. We have gone out and we have pressure washed. We've put the bleach down in the right mixture, pressure washed, let it dry, compared to non-bleach, and almost it's impossible. The human eye can't tell. Next, we've gone pressure washed, afterwards put bleach on it. You can't tell. The only time I'd recommend it is if you have, as example, Barb had some big evergreen trees on the side of her driveway, and under those trees was solid black. I mean, it was nasty. I really didn't need to, but what you can do is just get a bottle of 30-second cleaner, which is it has bleach, it's oxygenated bleach and a couple of the cleaners, and have that extra hose. And so right before you, probably wet it, spray the 30-second cleaner on there, let it sit there for a couple of minutes, and then go over and pressure wash it. All it does is it just helps a little bit break down that organic matter. But as far as the overall look, I'm telling you, we have never used bleach or any bleach mixes on our full driveways or sidewalks or swimming pools or decks or anything. We have never used it as a full project. Now, have we gone out and tested some areas? Yes. Have we gone out and see if it makes it look better? Yes. And I'm telling you, it just doesn't make a bit of difference. It really doesn't. Okay, so let's talk about a subject that gets a little complicated, but we're here to talk about it, so let's talk about it. And that's mold and algae, and this ties into the bleach factor. Okay, first of all, let's define mold and algae. Mold, for the most part, can't produce its own food. Mold is either gray or black, therefore it doesn't have chloroform inside of it, just like a plant. Plants are green, and it uses the sunlight to create its own food. Mold will grow in a basement, it'll grow in dark places. Algae will not grow in a basement or dark places. Algae is green, for the most part. Most algae is green, and it needs some form of light. Typically, not bright sunlight. It'll be on the north side of the house, I think it is. You'll see algae grow. That's the difference between the two. But how many mold spores you're actually, when you're cleaning, you're actually taking off a layer of concrete. You're going to see this gray film sort of go off. You're taking off a layer of concrete, which means you're removing all the dirt, all the mold spores, everything. Within the next, I want you to Google this. How many mold spores are in a cubic yard of air inside versus outside? Inside, I think, it's something like 10,000 to 50,000 mold spores in every cubic yard of air. We're breathing it right now. Outside, it ranges from like 30,000 to 200,000 mold spores in every cubic yard of air. So what does that tell you? Well, if you spray bleach because it kills the mold spores, bleach only lasts, an hour? Let's say it lasts 2 hours or 3 hours. Then it's gone. Bleach will no longer kill after that point. Every minute of every day on your driveway, you're going to have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of mold spores get onto your driveway. That's what's going to happen. It's out there. So if you remove the food that it needs to grow, you're not going to have it. That's the whole purpose, and that's why I want to say bleach, the fact that you think that you're killing the mold spores, really is insignificant. Now, on the side of a house, I'll give you an example. On the side of a house, a lot of people think they need to pressure wash the vinyl siding of a house. I did a video, it's called 5-Minute Cleaners. You can go to my channel and Google it or look at it, and it's 5-minute cleaning vinyl siding. You don't need to pressure wash vinyl siding. Just use 30-second cleaner. Just spray it on, wait, spray it on again, wait, and then rinse it off, and it's bright white. You do not need to pressure wash vinyl siding. You don't have to do it. It'll be perfectly bright white, and you're going to have to do it every single year because it loses its effectiveness. More dust and crap goes onto the side of your house, more mold spores get on there, and they start growing again, and algae grows, and once a year you got to go clean it. That's the way it is. As a matter of fact, one of my neighbors was getting out there, and I saw them. They had the pressure washer and they had everything set up, and I'm like, dude, wait a minute. I went over to my house, I grabbed a bottle of 30-second cleaner, I sprayed it on, I sprayed it again. We waited about 3 or 4 minutes in between each treatment, and then I rinsed it off, and they looked up and they said, it's all gone. I said, you're welcome. So get away from the fact that you have to have some type of disinfectant to kill mold spores. It's just not true. So guys, I hope this video has helped you guys as far as pressure washing goes. On the description below, there's going to be a link and it'll be a page, and I'll put links to everything I'm talking about. Everything from the pressure washers to the accessories to 30-second cleaner to anything I'm talking about. Hit that subscribe button. Talk to you later. Doc, gotta run.